right away, there's a family picnic in the beginning to get everybody to know one another. And it was just right away, people are open and they're accepted. And, it really is just a big family sense. And that, that may sound a little corny, but they accept everybody for who they are.
I'm Glenn Herbert, and I'm an editor with Our Kids. We're speaking with insiders from Canada's leading private schools to gain insights into their programs, culture, traditions, and leadership. This includes insights from parents, alumni, and administrators. This is the Our Kids Insider Perspective.
I'd heard of Braemar House School. I knew of it because the friends of the family were part of the original families that put the school together. And I hadn't really considered it until the point where I realized that both of my kids were having some issues with the school they were at, and not just because of the school and not because they didn't have good teachers, but just because they were getting anxious and there was something that wasn't working for them. So my older son no longer wanted to go to school, and my younger son had been diagnosed as a selective mute. And so he was not interacting with his school colleagues except for two. And he wouldn't speak to teachers and he wouldn't speak to anybody. So I discussed this with some friends whose children were at Braemar, and, they said Braemar would be a great place for them. So I did some more research, looked into it, and then we got going on the process. It was immediate. The classroom, so my oldest son started in grade 5, and he immediately was fine. He wasn't chewing his clothes anymore. He no longer had the headaches or the stomach that made him not want to go to school. The class accepted him right away. The kids in the class were great. The teachers were amazing. And yet it's as though he'd always been there and he'd always, been a part of it. My younger son, we saw a change even before then. So we went for the days where they go and sit in the class and they participate, and everybody does sort of an evaluation of, is this the right fit, both from the school side and from the family side. And in that day, my younger son in the classroom put his hand up and participated. And this is something he had never done at the school he was at. So for me, that's a huge indicator that this was the right place for him. So yeah, it was immediate for both of them. They felt right at home. They were comfortable. There were no more issues, drop off or getting them to go to school. And the school welcomed them. And the classes, the kids were great as well. They really welcomed the new kids in, and it was amazing. Yeah. I think I can safely say it would be the teachers. For my oldest son, kids as they get older, they grumble about the teachers, but I know that the teachers were there for them. They were really supportive. They were creative about what they were doing in the classroom. They made it fun. They made learning interesting. They challenged them. They didn't push them when they had difficulties. They helped guide them, as opposed to saying, just figure it out. They really did help them out through that. And my younger son just had amazing experiences with his teachers who, and even the teachers that weren't his. So, the best example of that would be, so within the first month or so of starting at school, and he was in grade 1, there was an announcement for a talent show. And the woman who was running the talent show, the teacher that at the time, Sala, she put the word out, and she was also a science teacher. And my son decided he wanted to be an ant. And, what does an ant do at a talent show? I didn't know. I was like, okay, well, that's great. But she just embraced it, and all the teachers did, and they just made it work. So he really felt that he was taken care of, that he was considered, that, there was no, an ant's not really something you can do. They just made it work. And for him, as well as for me, I just thought, It's amazing. It's the care and the individual caring that the teachers do, and the way that they will go outside of the box for kids who are a little bit outside of the box. So yeah, aside from the teachers, also the executive, and Pam, the principal, the board, I think it's the sense of community that I've gotten from the school right from the very beginning. For me, I wasn't surprised at the class size. I wasn't surprised, that the teachers were caring. But the sense of community, now it's changed a lot, but there is still a sense of community, even with COVID. But, right away, there's a family picnic in the beginning to get everybody to know one another. And it was just right away, people are open and they're accepted. And, it really is just a big family sense. And that, that may sound a little corny, but they accept everybody for who they are. They, quirks and all, they take you in and you're part of that community, and they engage you and they keep you informed and they keep you up to date on what's going on. And I think that's something that is easier to do when you have a school of this size, is to create that community spirit. I don't think so. No, I think other than this sense of community and belonging, no, there wasn't. Again, I myself had gone to a private school, and so I knew that the class size and I knew that the teachers would be more implicated. But as a parent, that sort of sense of community, and I think that they get the kids involved in that sense as well, that, you look out for one another, you care for one another, you participate in the community at large as well. They do a lot of fundraising, or even just events for things like Terry Fox Day, and they'll go out and in the neighborhood of the school, they'll do events like that. And I think that's amazing. And again, due to the size, that's something that they can do. Just getting the kids involved and opening them up to the world that's outside of their schoolyard as well. So they do have mottos and they do have values, and they work through those values throughout the year. And I'm a little embarrassed to say that even after this many years, I haven't got them all memorized yet. But I think the day-to-day thing really is showing up as a person, being respectful. That's big. Respecting each other, respecting the differences, respecting that people may be having a bad day. And assuming your choices. So if you're going to behave in a way that, isn't necessarily appropriate, you're going to have to accept any consequences for that. But they're going to do it in a way that is gentle and calm, but that you understand that it's not acceptable. And, I'm happy to say it doesn't happen all the time, but I think with both of my kids are boys. So I think with all young boys, you're going to have that moment where they maybe tease someone a little too much, or they get angry, or they, kick or trip or something when they're younger. The way it's dealt with is very respectful, and recognizes what it's about. Doesn't just treat it as, all kids do this. It's, what, girls, you were getting in the face of somebody. So, their natural reaction is going to push back on that. So, I think it really is the respect and integrity that is, for me, the underlying value that is really pushed a lot. And I think it's so important. So I'm thinking about, obviously, the kids and the families that I know best. And I think it is the similarities there are that they want what's best for their children. They don't want them spoiled. They don't want them coddled. They don't want them treated with kid gloves. Pretty much every parent I know has said, look, if anything were to ever go sideways, you have my full permission to deal with it in the way that you think is best. So I would have to say that and again, I think there's enough of a span and there's enough of pre-COVID of being able to get to know a number of the families, whether they're in the same grade or not, to say that that would be sort of the typical, the kids aren't there to be coddled and treated specially and just push through a beautiful system so that they come out the end. No, there really is the desire for these kids to get a good, solid education, but also to come out of there as better people who are aware of what goes on in the world, and to realize that they are quite fortunate to have access to this type of education. So I would say that from my experience, that's kind of the typical family is going to be like that. Yeah. I would say that for my younger son, because he still talks about it, is having been able to overcome that that selective mutism, which is an anxiety issue. So I think that for him is a point of pride that he was able to get beyond that and to be able to participate. And he still has moments where he's not comfortable, but he's moved beyond that. So I think that would be his big point of pride. I think my older son, at the age they are now, they're not going to say, oh yeah, I'm really proud of this or that. And they're not going to speak a lot about school. But I think what he would be proud of is that he was encouraged, allowed, and participated in everything. So, before COVID, he was trying out for school plays. He was trying out for every team that he was allowed to. And I think for him, that was, that going out and giving it all a try. It doesn't matter if you are top ranked or not. They went out and they had a lot of fun. So I think for him, that would be his point of pride, would be really having tried everything that there was to offer. Fantastic. I mean, I don't think I've ever had one bad or disappointing or upsetting interaction with any of the teachers. So I find that the teachers they're open, they're honest, they're not going to play around if something needs adjusting. Principal has been amazing. When there have been, again, boys, there's going to be something in their educational career that is going to come up. Was always very respectful, very calm, dealt with it in for me, a great manner, because it was, she was firm. She was clear about what the problem was. She explained things to the kids, and was also clear about what the ramifications would be if anything repeated itself. But I think was done in a way where the kids came out of it having learned, as opposed to feeling, stupid or put down or insulted, or just, treated other than as young adults. With Kristen, the executive, it's always fantastic. It's always, we have a lot of laughs. I have to say that she and I have known each other for a number of years without knowing each other for a number of years. We have a past life. We skated together. I got to know her when she was also working at the United Way, but we didn't know each other the way we do now. And I just think she's amazing, because she is a mom. She is, smart. She's invested, and she truly cares. And I think that's the one thing for me that stands out for all of them. All the teachers we've had through the year, you can see that there's an enormous amount of caring there, from the teachers who will have like a Harry Potter themed entire years, parties are around it. It's fantastic, to the other ones who are teaching them about classroom economies based on candy. I mean, what better way to get somebody to learn about budgeting and finance and payment and this and that than with candy? To the teachers who will go out and on somebody's birthday, get them like the most outrageous drink they want from a particular place. I mean, there's care. It's just truly, they're invested in these kids in a way that, honestly, I haven't seen before. So it's just really nice. Top three reasons would be, I think first and foremost, because there is sort of a presumption that a private school or an independent school is going to be somewhere where the kids are going to be spoiled, or they're going to be, this or that. So the first thing I would say would be, this is a place where that's not it. It feels very grassroots. It's very community based. It is a good, solid head on your shoulders education, not just in the curriculum, but also in life in the world we're living in. So just because you get to go here, yes, you are fortunate, but that doesn't mean that out there you get to, you have anything above anybody else other than what's in your head. So that would be the number one reason, is that it really is a down-to-earth, good school. Second reason would be the community that it builds. And it's hard for me to do a 1, 2, 3, because the three main things I would say would be, so the environment, the second would be the community, and third would just be the care that everybody puts into it, from the teachers to the board, the executive, the principal, everybody, and even even other families. You can see by the way they support the different committees when they have the ability to. So yeah, community, teachers, and just the type of curriculum and life education that the kids are getting there. I would say the best thing to do is research and look at reviews. Find out things like this. What do parents think about? What do they appreciate about it? What is it that makes it different? I think it's important as well to see how involved or not you want to be. I find that the majority of parents at Braemar are quite involved in the community of the school. And so, if you want somewhere where you're going to go and drop, and you'll get your perfect child out at grade 8 or grade 12 or whatever, maybe not. But I think the best way to really go about it is to do your research, reach out to parents as well. If you've got the opportunity to meet parents, to speak to other parents and find out what they mean. Because certainly things like this, people could say, well, they just pick the people that they're going to say great things. But, I think you would be, honestly, maybe a little bit hard pressed to find parents that would say something really negative about the school. I don't know for sure, but that's my understanding and my knowledge from the parents that I know and that I've spoken with. So I'd say the best thing to do is just really do your research and look at the school environment, not just the curriculum, not just the name, not just the location, but what is the school expecting from you as a family and as their students, and what can you expect in return, and what kind of environment are you sending your kids into every day?
For more information about this school, you can visit their profile at ourkids.net.